Money Moves with Myth 2.0, the podcast. And always remember, gentlemen, it's a motherfucking movie. So I was watching this show um about a couple of weeks ago. I finished a little series. It was called Undercover Millionaire, you know. And it was like it started off with 10 people. And each person had a box and they was in this real nice house and stuff. And one person had to open their box, and one person had $1 million cash in their box, and then they had to keep it a secret. And if they last until the end of the game, they would become a millionaire. And what that show taught me, it taught me that you can't trust nobody when it comes to cash money. Let me say that again. You cannot trust anybody when it comes to cash money. People who actually liked each other on this show had to lie, had to cheat. There was a lot of tears, all because of this $1 million in cash. So the thing is, we're going to do a survey. So if somebody dropped a wallet with a phone number in there, and the wallet had $500, it had 4 crispy hundreds and 5 20s, and the wallet had a phone number, how many of you will pick the wallet up and call the number and return the money? How many of you will pick up the wallet? You see it's $500 in there and return the money. Do you know that most Americans in America, if they found a wallet with $500 in there, they're going to keep the $500. Plus, if there's any type of credit cards in that wallet, they're going to try to use those, just because. They're going to feel like they didn't came up, they didn't hit the lottery off of these $500. But what happens is the guy who made the $500 will be able to make the $500 back abundantly. But the person who gets the $500 probably won't know how to get $500. So what this taught me that even if you're working a job and you looking at your check and your check say $575 and your check say $600, do you know that most Americans in this country, most people are not walking around with $1,000. They're not walking around with $500 accessible. That money is going to get burnt. It's going to burn a hole in their pockets. So that's why I tell people that, you shouldn't trust anyone when it comes to your cash money. A lot of people be happy because they got a new job. They make a little bit more than they made. They probably make $1,000 or $2,000 every week, and they think people are actually happy for them. But did you know that if 4 out of 5 people that you hang around, including family members, had the opportunity for you to drop them $2,000, they'll keep it. And they know it belongs to you. They will sit in your face and lie. And knowing good and well that they got the money the whole time. You know, which is the sad part about it. So, for all the people out here who get a little something, you know, you working a job, you looking at your check like it ain't nothing, man, there's somebody out here who would take your head off. You know, you think a lot of these American black men and poor Spanish dudes and stuff like this out here selling drugs and robbing people are doing it just to do it? To somebody who don't have nothing going on, $200 seems like a lot. You know, most guys be thinking that they could take that $200 and turn it to $10,000, which if you could do that, you would have the $200 already. You know, and how can you trust anybody when it comes to money? Because nowadays we got women, not just fellas, women who will cut your throat for their money as well. Women who work 24/7, going to the gym. They go to the gym, they're working out, they go get their nails done, they go get a BBL. You know, they do that. Why are they doing that? Because they know that if they look their absolute best and they got a nice body, that's why a lot of us regular dudes who don't really have any money, we can't get them. You know, because most of the time, you know, they're looking for guys who have money, guys who's going to take them out and spend $300 on a date, a guy who's going to spend $500 on a date, a guy who's going to go out there and spend $1,500 on a date. You know, so we know that her loyalty resides around cash money, meaning that she probably would do anything. She would do anything if a woman, if a beautiful woman would get with a guy who's 50 years old with gray hair and she's 23 for money. How can you trust that woman? You know, how can you trust a woman or man in this world when everybody, you know, everybody is seeking to get the mighty dollar bill? You know, a lot of y'all ain't gonna get it. Everybody running around happy to show people your little funky $500, your little funky $1,500, and all you're doing is making yourself a target to everybody. Because anybody who has the opportunity for you to drop that money is not going to tell you they got it. You know, because most guys don't have the heart to take it from you. So, you know, a lot of guys don't. But there is guys who do have the heart to try to take it from you. But most guys are going to try to wait for you to slip up. Trust them a little bit more. Leave that $10,000 in that bedroom with that man and watch what happens. I'm telling you, bro, stop. Can't trust nobody when it comes to cash money. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Over and out.